Hello, and welcome to a special episode of The Other Side of Sales. I'm Ashley Early.
And I'm Casey Jones.
And this is a special episode because the US election is in less than a week. So this episode is aimed at our fellow US citizens who are listening. And if you are not a US citizen, please please talk to your friends who are US citizens. Specifically, we're recording this episode because after a probably not as much debate and thought as what might be indicated, but after a lot of personal debate and thought, we are endorsing a candidate for president.
I bet you can guess which one.
Wow. Sure, you're sitting on tenterhooks. But to just really quick before we spoil it, our mission has always been to create sales cultures where everyone can thrive. And in this election, there is a very clear candidate who aligns with that mission and one who doesn't.
And the one who doesn't, it's not just doesn't, it does everything in his power to prevent the many things that we stand for. And I think the other big thing is Ashley and I don't always agree on politics. I am way more of a crazy left winger than Ashley is. And we both believe so deeply in the power of democracy, and not to be dramatic, but we genuinely feel like that is at stake in this election. And, one of the debates we had when deciding whether or not to kind of do this is there are a lot of organizations out there that have never in decades or hundreds of years endorsed a candidate because it wasn't about that. And Scientific American.
Yep.
And they are this year because what is at stake it's not about, yes, it is about policies, but it's about things that are much, much deeper than that and much more core and fundamental to kind of who we are as a country and what we believe in and what we stand for. And honestly, I don't think that the two of us could really, I think it would bug us for months or years to come if we didn't put this out there and encourage all of you to participate in democracy and stand up for what our country at least used to stand for, and we hope could again.
And for that reason, we are asking you to vote for Joe Biden for president. Just to call out a few specifics so we understand a little bit of our logic here. And I want to be clear, this is the logic on behalf of Other Side of Sales, although we share it personally as well. So we're very clear. Casey and I have been very clearly decided our votes ages ago. This is not a decision that we made personally recently.
But let me also just say, Biden was never either of our first choice.
No.
Okay, I'm not terribly enthused about Biden as a candidate. I'm not terribly enthused about another 70-plus-year-old white man. However, there is more at stake. And I don't know, as frankly, both candidates are saying, and I agree with both of them, but for different reasons, the soul of our country is at stake. And because of the role the United States plays in international politics and in foreign diplomacy, there's a lot beyond the United States that is also really at stake.
And I think that's, if we're going to go into the logic here for a second, I think that is a bit of why this is a vote as much against President Trump as it is a vote for Vice President Biden. I think just kind of outlining a few things, we made some notes here because we wanted to give you guys a little bit of some insight here. One, we believe that a kind of aligning with our mission and values here at Other Side of Sales, that the only way to move forward and progress as a community, as a country, is by agreeing on the facts. And this is a president who has again and again and again and again repeated conspiracy theories, sown misinformation, actively undermined science, to put things mildly. This is a president who has sowed active distrust of the voting and the democratic process.
And look, like, we're always going to have differences in how we think things should improve or how we think things should change. But if we can't have a shared understanding of what is real and what isn't, there's literally like no real hope for us to come together as a country and continue to improve and continue to improve the lot and lives of those here and abroad. And I don't know, you know what, I almost said I don't want to be dramatic here, but I do want to be dramatic because it's freaking dramatic.
Yeah.
That a lot is at stake here. And
it's one of those things, I think, especially for both of us, like, we've been around dramatic elections before.
yeah,
It's every year it's felt like somebody saying this is for the soul of the nation. This is the most important election of our lifetimes. These stakes have never been higher. It is not just being dramatic. This is a situation where I've had said several times in the past year, if you're not scared, you're not paying attention. And I don't say that to sow fear. I say that because I am seeing things in this country, brutal honesty, that my family fled when they left Europe, when they left Stalinist Russia, when they left Nazi Germany. And that chills me to my core.
yeah.
And it has for a long time. One of the last things I want to mention really quickly is one of the things that has always deeply disturbed me about President Trump and candidate Trump is the sowing of the narrative of us versus them.
Yeah.
That it's one or the other. And that very extreme version of that narrative is, I believe, contrary to the soul of our nation, our Constitution, our values, and will, if propagated, be our undoing.
And look, you know, to bring it back to the other side of sales and what we're all about, that's literally what we're trying to end in the sales culture, right? We talk all the time about wanting to cultivate a more inclusive B2B sales culture, because in that kind of environment, everyone can thrive and we all have a right to deserve that opportunity. And we certainly have it as citizens or non, as residents of this country, as humans. And especially when we're in such a crisis and a pandemic and an economic crisis, all these other things, now's the time to come together and you know, and look, you know, we remember 9/11 when, don't get me wrong, I really was not a fan of George W. Bush, not going to go there, but it wasn't. But there was something that happened after 9/11 where we really, really came together as a country. And it was an incredibly beautiful, powerful thing to experience. And the fact that while we are going through this crisis, the response is to hate one another and to get, you know, angry at one another for things
and
like
to
wearing
restrict
masks.
the rights of our fellow citizens rather than coming together to create compromise and expand them for everybody.
Yeah.
Switching gears slightly to the more positive, because it isn't all doom and gloom. There is reason to hope.
There is.
Not to borrow from some older campaigns. One of the things that we like about Joe Biden is that he does address reality.
Yeah.
He listens to science. He has spoken, not always perfectly, but he is willing to talk about systemic racism and inequality in this country.
And look, he also makes it very, very clear that he'll be a president that serves everybody, even those that don't vote for him.
Yep.
And that didn't used to be a novel concept, but it is now.
Yeah. It breaks my heart that we're even having this discussion.
And look, that's what being a leader really is.
Exactly.
Right. And we could use one of those.
That'd be nice. And I think the last thing of that, and kind of piggybacking on leadership is, and this, even full disclosure, we're recording this on October 23rd. This is going to air hopefully on October 29th. Hopefully by this point you've already voted. If you haven't, you've got a plan to vote. But even last night in the debates, one candidate talked about how much the other person was not fit in their opinion. And one candidate talked about a vision for America and what we can be as a country. We are much more interested in the vision that unites versus the rhetoric that divides.
Yep.
So
Here.
So at Other Side of Sales, we are asking you, we are begging you. I don't care if you agree with us or disagree with us. Do so at the ballot box.
Yeah.
Go vote, make a plan to vote, encourage your friends to vote, celebrate your fellow citizens who are voting. If you are outside of the US, please check in with your American citizens and make sure they do. If you have any questions about how to vote, your registration status, your options, there are options for early voting, for mail-in voting, for in-person voting in every state. One of the website we suggest you go to is vote.org. It is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization. They've got links to every state in the union. Make a plan, be safe, but exercise your right to have a voice and a say and impact the future of the United States.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah. I'll not that we've been joking, but this is a heartfelt appeal from both of us.
And look, I will also just mention this. I have already blocked off all of Wednesday after Election Day so that I can hopefully celebrate, perhaps mourn my sorrows. But if you can afford to take the day off so you can make sure you have plenty of time to vote, take the following day off so that you can, I don't know,
do the self-care that's going to be needed.
Yeah, after the craziest year of our lives.
I'll throw one more thing in there. I also ask you to brace yourself for not having a winner on election night.
Yeah.
This is very, very, very likely that we will not know who the next president is on election day. We may not know for weeks. That is the point of the democratic process, to making sure every vote is going to get counted. Vote counting starts when the polls close in every state. It does not finish that night. There are a lot of rules, there are a lot of regulations about that. Brace yourself to not know. We talk about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable in sales. Get ready for the democratic process to work, because it will, as long as we all go and vote. Please, please, please go vote.
Please, please, please. Yeah. And feel a sense of pride when you do, because it's a big deal and it's an honor. And there's a lot of people in our country that are disenfranchised for a lot of reasons. So appreciate it, feel proud of it, and take it seriously.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating in the discussions, coming along with us on this crazy ride. Please go vote. And ideally, please vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.